Hi, everybody. This is Barbara Drazga with the Bundle Masterclass, and today I am introducing to you two new friends of mine, Karen and Neil Gortzman of Private Label Secrets. Hi, all. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Awesome. So glad to have them here today. I signed up for their live event coming up next month, and I was so impressed when I interviewed them to find out about what they were doing in the private label space that I had to bring them to you. So they agreed to take time out of their crazy busy schedule to allow me to interview them about private label secrets and how to do private label properly as an Amazon seller. So, again, my name is Barbara Drazga, and I am with the Bundle Masterclass. I'm the creator of the Bundle Masterclass. And some people ask me, well, okay, Barbara, I've got these bundles that sell really well, but my main item from a wholesaler is now out of stock, and he's not getting it back in. It's been discontinued. Now I got to start all over with a new bundle. But there's another step after bundling. When your bundle sells well, I see bundling, product bundling, as a way to test a market and a product bundle for that market. And then if it starts doing really well, I take that concept, I improve upon it based on feedback and reviews I've gotten, and then I go and private label it. So that means I go and I find manufacturers to create that bundle, all pieces of the bundle, and put my label on it. So now I own all of those pieces and the bundle itself to bring to Amazon, instead of having to get pieces from 4 or 5 different sources and hope they still have them in stock, etc. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next step after bundling is private labeling. And I know some people have some fear about private labeling. There's some misconceptions like it costs $100,000 in a 40-foot container and they get freaked out that it's way too expensive to get started, and it's also way too expensive to learn how to get started. So Karen and Neil are here to blow those misconceptions out of the water. I wanted to share my plans for 2018 with all of you. I am going much more into private labeling and building out brands of products or brands, but with products that are related to each other under each brand. And Karen and Neil are my coaches for that journey, and that's why I brought them to you. So Karen and Neil, I'm going to quiet down now and let you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about Private Label University, what your background is, who you are, and how you can help people go from bundling to private label.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for that introduction and for inviting us here. Right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. First of all, yes, we did meet a few weeks ago. You are such an incredible person to speak with, wealth of information. So you guys are all in amazing hands working with Barbara. So we are pleased to be here and help to support her and you guys as well. So let us tell you a little bit about who we are and why we're here and what you need to know about us. And then we'll talk a little bit about what Private Label University can do for you. Sound good?
That sounds wonderful. And remember, we've got Amazon sellers on here, so I want you to make sure that you cover why it's important for Amazon sellers to start creating private label products or bundling, owning their listing, like what's trending as an Amazon seller now and why this is important for them.
Absolutely. And we too are Amazon sellers as well. So we totally appreciate that. So I'm going to have Neil start a little bit talking about who he is, how he got involved in private labeling and what his background is, because I think this is really the key to giving everyone an understanding of how easy really private labeling is, and those misconceptions, Barbara, that you talked about, people thinking it costs so much when in fact it doesn't at all. So Neil, you start.
So I was born into the product industry, and I've done retail arbitrage, wholesale arbitrage, distribution, manufacturing, and I've done this almost for 40 years now. So over 35 years, just me alone. This has been really my life. And I've played with all the different models of business opportunities and studied them and how they work. So again, the knowledge that I've learned over these years, that's what we're doing now, is actually helping other entrepreneurs. My father was private labeling as early as in the early 60s. He was in business in the 50s and started doing a lot of private labeling in the 60s for retailers. So that was key. I brought up where he was private labeling product for retailers, and I was learning more and more about the manufacturing, the distribution product of those private labels. And we were doing a lot of importing. So we were importing back as early as the early 70s, and that was from Taiwan. Taiwan is where we started from. And then we started going more into mainland China. From mainland China, I was also working in Japan, Vietnam, India, South Korea, and I was traveling to those countries. So for myself, I started traveling to China in the early 80s. My father actually took me there in the late 70s into Taiwan, and then I alone was going into China, especially the Canton Fair, into the 80s. So with all that knowledge, all that time spending there, I was working directly with manufacturers, the importing all the, there's a lot of intricate details bringing in products from other countries, not just China, from India and Japan. They all have their own laws. So I was learning all of this when it really wasn't popular for a lot of companies to import. So that was a great opportunity for me growing up and doing that and making it part of my life. And the idea is that the world is always changing, and there's many opportunities in many countries, and people have to realize that. So I was working with a lot of chain stores. I was working with Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, Toys R Us, and more of the chain stores were approaching me to teach them about private labeling and private label products for them. Because I was spending so much time overseas, they knew I had kind of the ins and outs of how to bring in products. And it was just a ton of information that I was always being overloaded with. And many companies were still doing arbitrage. And for me, I was basing everything on private label. Private label is really the thing to do because you have the full control. And I know a lot of people are out there doing arbitrage. If you want to, put up a little note in the chat box if you are doing retail arbitrage. It's very popular. It's very simple to start out with, and it's a great way to learn how to start a business. But really, there's a lot of setbacks. Arbitrage, you're not making the profit. With private labeling, there's much more profit to be made, and you have control. That's the key with private labeling. You have full control. You have control over the inventory. You have control over the packaging. You have control over the pricing, what you want to sell the products for, if you want to hold back the products and do a new launch on it. So you really have that control, which allows you to make money. And most importantly, the competition. With private labeling, there's no competition because it's yours. You don't have to worry. With arbitrage, you have to always worry the competition, who's dropping the price. You don't have to worry about that with private labeling. So that's the great thing about private labeling.
And I, unlike Neil, I wasn't born with a barcode on my butt. I actually knew nothing about products. I started private labeling as a stay-at-home mom. Any moms out there? Any parents out there who are at home with their kids and looking to bring in additional revenue? I mean, that's how I started. We had moved from Canada. We're originally from Canada, moved to the States. I was a dental hygienist. I couldn't bring my license with me. Stay-home mom, had the best job ever, right? But as a stay-home mom, the pay is crappy. I mean, it's really not good. So we needed another way to bring in an income, and I was bored. I needed to do something. So I started private labeling almost 18 years ago, but 17, 18 years ago. And this is before Amazon was popular, before Alibaba, before all this. And I had Neil teach me the process, and I couldn't believe. I mean, if I can do it, someone who knew nothing about products, someone who knew nothing except teeth could do it, anyone can do it. I mean, we've taught our 14-year-old, right? A 14-year-old create a private label business, and he sells on Amazon and does really, really well.
And we have some, there's two people in the chat that I see that I know they're retired. So, you really can't rely anymore. It's a different world now. There's no job security. Retirement funds are gone, and Social Security is certainly not enough to live on. So, baby boomers who are coming out the other end of their beginning retirement, they're like, okay, well, now do I go work at Walmart as a greeter if I need extra money? And we're here to tell you, no. You might want to use Walmart to do some market research on some profitable products, right? But JOB translates to just over broke in a lot of definitions, mine including. So it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're a teenage kid or a stay-at-home mom or an Amazon seller who wants to, create a scalable business and get away from arbitrage or retirement. It doesn't matter what your age is or your background or education level. Because it's not that hard once you know how to do it right.
And that's why we created the Private Label University. We had so many people come to us. We are known in the industry as literally, I mean, you hear about gurus in private labeling. I mean, we are literally the gurus of private labeling.
Okay, well, I got to halt you there because I've got it's a little bit of a soapbox I get on with the term guru.
Yeah.
You guys are the guru. I heard somebody else say this about 2 weeks ago and it really resonated with me. I see you as a practitioner. The difference between a guru and that's why I'm taking that moniker for myself. I am a practitioner in bundles, or I create bundles and sell on Amazon, and I am doing it. And I go to China, not as often as you guys. I did my first trip in April. I'm going again next April, and I'm now sourcing from Mexico as well, private labeling. So I'm in the trenches and doing it. So I consider myself a practitioner who is teaching what I'm learning, as opposed to a guru, where the definition of that in my mind is someone who has maybe, gotten lucky, had a little bit of success, and now thinks they're going to earn a whole lot more of their money by teaching people what limited thing they had success with, but not actually doing what they had success with anymore.
So I love that, because there's
you're
so
practitioners, because
Yeah,
I sought you out. I was desperate to find, I did. That's how I found you. I was desperate to find someone. I wanted coaches that I could learn private labeling from, because, I'm planning Canton Fair Phase 2 and 3 in April. And my first Canton last April, I think I told you, boy, I learned a lot, boots on the ground. I didn't have a coach over there. I went over cold, and I came back and I didn't close any deals because I wasn't sure what to do next. So if part of my plan in 2018 is to build brands, I need to know what I don't know. So I started doing research and found a bunch of gurus and watched some of their videos. I'm like, I can't learn from these people. There's kind of a snake oil salesman. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, I'm not singling you out, but it was really kind of, and then you came up on my radar as somebody who's teaching private label. And that's how I ended up on the phone with you. And guys on the webinar, I interviewed them. I just didn't look at their sales pages or get in there. They've got this great free webinar, by the way. I'll send you the link in a little bit. But I made them get on the phone with me and basically interview for a job to be my coach for private labeling. And I hired them, and that's why they're here today.
And so I have to say, that's how we kind of do business. We come from working with huge retailers, right? So people come, they know us, and I use I'm not going to use that term now, guru, anymore. I call it, we're experts, really.
Experts, that works.
It's our expertise. And we have these big stores come to us. That's how we've been working for the last 35 years. They find us with our expertise and hire us into their business to grow and build through private labeling. So we created the Private Label University for entrepreneurs that don't know how to access us. We're not marketers, right? We're not out there, we're not marketers telling you that, we tried private labeling, we've done it for a year or two, and now we're still learning, but we'll teach you too. Right? Yeah. We've done it, been there, done it. We've done arbitrage. We've done it. We know what works. We know what products work. We know why you need to be positioning yourself, what packaging you should be using, not just for Amazon. Amazon is a great place to start, but there's so much more, right? It's about building a business and making money and giving yourself that freedom. That's what we build. That's how we helped a lot of these companies like Hobby Lobby and Michaels.
That's crazy. That's insane. That is just crazy insane that you helped them bring in products, and probably also some of what you did might have been bundling.
Oh, absolutely. Bundling is awesome. You guys are in such great hands. Bundling is awesome. If you can bundle private label products and even bundle private label products with arbitrage products and create private label bundles, oh my God.
And we talk about putting a custom piece in there, like a tip sheet on how to use something or whatever in the bundle masterclass. But I'm really excited to work with you. So let's just keep going. What I want you to do is share some tips. As I'm just going to give it back to you and stop interrupting. I swear, I promise. I just couldn't stand you calling yourself gurus. You're experts or practitioners. So what are some steps? Are there 5 steps or 3 steps that we can get started?
Absolutely. So I know we're going to talk about the book in a bit, but the great thing about the book is it literally walks you through the steps. And we call it's the private label blueprint is really what it is. It's a blueprint that we have been using for decades with the retailers, right? So with the big retailers, Walmart, you know, when you think about it, Walmart, Costco's, Target, all these stores that were little at one time, right? What made them bigger and stand out was private labeling. Actually, is what made them to where they are now, these big, huge empires.
And private labeling is, you know, that term is thrown around so much. Maybe there's one person on this webinar who doesn't understand what that term means. So let's just dumb it down a little bit. When I go to the Dollar Tree and I look at the packaging of a product that I might want to create a bundle from it, and it says Greenbrier International, that is Dollar Tree's private label brand. So Target, they have a private label. They have many private label brands. Walmart has private label brands, right? So
also Kirkland, you buy Kirkland.
Kirkland brand. That's right. They've got wine now. So what they do is they see what sells really well from other manufacturers, and then they create it themselves and put their brand on it.
Or they just go with what they know would be a great addition, listening to people, listening to your customers. I mean, you had mentioned most people on the webinar right now already are selling products. Yeah. So listen to who you're selling to. Right? And we're going to talk about that in the steps, but a lot of that is, and private labeling, people think is so complicated. I mean, it's really easy. You don't even have to. We work with a lot of inventors too, creating products from scratch, right? Something we just did in our Amazon Private Label Summit. We created a product from scratch and then brought it. You don't even, with private labeling, have to create a product from scratch. It's an already existing product. You put a label with your brand on it and share it with millions of people.
Now, if you mix that with what I teach about bundling, because I would want to put 2 or 3 other things in there to make it even harder for someone to rip off my product.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that with a lot, especially in the art industry, with a lot of artists, with a lot of coaches, with a lot of service providers.
Mm-hmm. The audience is there. That's what people have to look, you know, when products are selling that well of a name brand, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at what the demand is out there, what people want to buy. And it's very easy to do that, walking into stores or going on Amazon and seeing what the products that are selling the best are. But then again, switching that into either bundling it or private labeling it. But the key is to make it more profitable for you is private labeling and then doing what Barbara does.
Because private labeling, it gives you control. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Right now, if you're selling an arbitrage product, first of all, you have no control on Amazon because you're in someone else's listing usually. So you have no control of what happens in that listing. With private labeling, it's your own listing, right? It's your own listing. It's your own product. You decide how much you want to buy the product for, how much you want to buy of the product, how much you want to sell the product for, what it looks like, what industry you want to sell it to. I mean, there's just so much more control. So you have control of how much money you're going to make. Plus, you're looking at a brand as opposed to a mishmash of products, right? That could, you know, I look into some of arbitrage Amazon accounts. And I think, oh my God, there's like so much stuff in here. Well, this discontinued, this is discontinued. How do you keep control of that?
This girl.
Yeah, and there's people that panic. They say, well, if it's going to be discontinued in 6 months, I'm going to buy up so much of the inventory. But then meanwhile, the manufacturers come out with new packaging, maybe improved, and then you're stuck with it.
So private labeling just gives you control. And that's the key, right? Is to have organization, control, make money, and have more time for yourself, right? That's why we're doing this, right? We're doing it for a reason. We start private labeling, we start a business to make money for a reason. It's not just to make money. There's a reason behind it. It's that why, right?
And all of the reasons are valid, whatever your reason is. So one reason might be you want a lifestyle business that has regular income every month, and you don't need a ton of money. You want to cover your bills and have play money and go travel. That's totally valid. But here's another thing that private labeling allows you to do. You can create brands that you can then sell. So your exit strategy could be just create a brand, build out multiple products in that brand, sell it. Create another brand, build out multiple products, sell it. So it doesn't matter what your approach is, but private labeling is going to give you more options than arbitrage.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of Amazon sellers that we work with that actually sell their business, their Amazon business. Mm-hmm. And it's because of the brand. We have a lot of buyers in the retail industry that actually go on to Amazon and scout out brands to bring into their stores.
Really? So your private label brand could not just be for Amazon, but it can also be sold on retail store shelves. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
And that's what we focus on. You know, it's really difficult to get into a retail chain store because there's a lot of red tape. You got to go through buyers, there's contracts, there's a lot of things, and it's very difficult to get in front of those people. So we always encourage when you're starting, and you also have to have that credibility and that proof, that social proof that the product's going to sell, right? So it's really great to start on Amazon, get your feet wet, build that credibility, build the brand, because then what happens is those retailers want them in their stores. Retail's not going away. Brick and mortars aren't going away. They want them in their stores too. So now it's selling on Amazon. You're bringing in money that way. Now you're bringing in additional revenue from different platforms.
Well, on your own website too.
Absolutely.
You know, we've had, if you look at Shark Tank, which is, of course, is very popular with entrepreneurs. So some of the people who have failed on Shark Tank have contacted us, and we've helped them with their products to develop them even further. And if you notice more and more now on Shark Tank, they bring back people, because the people that they didn't invest with, they say, where's your sales? You have no sales. Why would I invest in you? How can you really forecast that your company's, you know, they set an evaluation, but they say, but you have no sales. Now some of these companies are coming back a year and two after they've already been on Shark Tank, because they said, now we have sales.
And they specifically say online sales. Right. They don't say Amazon because they can't.
Oh,
online sales, which incorporates any online platform.
Interesting. I did not know that. See, I learned something new every time I chat with you guys. So thank you. All right. Well, give us like 3 things. If people in the chat and on the webinar said, okay, well, what can I do today? If there's one thing I could do today besides read your book, and we're going to give you the book for free, just hang on the webinar and I'll give you the link in a little bit.
Yeah. So the process. Yeah, so the process, it's really simple. I mean, it's 5 steps. You need to find your niche. And a lot of retail stores that we work with, they already kind of know what their niche is. And I think you guys are in that same position, right? You have an idea of, you know, kind of what sells well for you with what you're doing and who your audience is. So step 1 is finding that niche, right? Who you already are selling to, and focus. It has to be really focused. You can't be like here and there. Oh, I'm doing pets, and then I'm doing vitamins, and then you need to really have a focus on what you want to sell and then build it. So we have a thing called the unique signature formula. It's an exercise that we put everyone through. Barbara, have you done yours yet?
No, I haven't done my homework, but I will. Oh, and just so you guys know, she's talking about the live event that I mentioned on my Facebook page in Denver in a few weeks in January. I'm so going. And when I registered for it, I got their $500 course thrown in for good measure. So I'm really excited about that. And there's homework right out of the gate. So they have accountability, which I really like.
And you get us, right? Most courses that you get, they say, here, do it. And you don't actually get the creators. And it's really important that you're learning from us and not from people who are just learning it. You know what I mean? Like
I do. That's why I chose you.
So one of the things we have you do is go through the unique signature formula. It is an exercise that we put you through. And then we jump on a call with you, a one-on-one call, and we go through it, because it really breaks down where you need to be focusing in your niche, because sometimes you don't know. You're all over the place, and it's really important to be really focused, and we help you dive in deep and give you strategies and suggestions on where to, and most people come in, and it's okay. Most people don't know where they need to be. They have a lot of interests, and that's okay. When we work together, you're going to see things come out and really get you really, really focused. Then step 2 is really, you go in and you find products that are going to resonate with you. And we're really keen on, you can jump, we hear all the time, just jump on Jungle Scout and look to see what's selling really well, and then jump onto Alibaba and get those products and bring them in. Okay, you know what? A million other people are doing the same thing, and good luck to you. People buy products from, first of all, people buy products, period. And then people buy products from here, right? If you can, if you have that passion and that knowledge of your product, you'll sell it. Trust me, you'll sell it. Like if you have a product, say, Barbara, you have a product and you're like killing it and selling it and doing really well, and you know everything about this product and you're passionate about it and you can explain it, and people are buying it, and you gave it to me, I could tell you it would be a disaster for me. Just like if I gave you one of my products and gave it to you and you didn't know and have that behind you, right? So I always use the example, and people are going to be like, oh my God, that's so gross. But we have 2 big St. Bernards, and Neil and I, one of the things we do every single morning is we take—
I was hoping you were going to share this story.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I was really hoping you would. Go ahead.
So we go for a walk every morning with our dogs. St. Bernard. So one's how big?
150 pounds.
150 pounds, and the other one?
145.
145 pounds. So when we go for a walk, we have doggy bags with us, poop bags. When they go, their poop is huge. I mean, it's so I make Neil pick it up, but they're not 1 baggers. They're like 3 baggers. So Neil has these 3 bags, and then he'll say, okay, can you carry some? So I'll carry it, and we'll joke, and I'll say, you imagine this, like if I told people, I was like so passionate about this poop, and I told people that if you put this on your face, tomorrow when you wake up, you'll be 10 years younger. You don't think people would buy that?
Funny.
The thing is, products sell, and if you have that passion and that understanding of what it is, it's going to sell. And that's the key with step number 2, is finding products that are right for you. Not finding products that Jungle Scout tells you is right for you. Products that are right for you, because products sell. If they're good quality and they're solving a problem and you're changing lives with them and you're getting good responses, they will sell, period. Step 3. What you do is you got to find suppliers, right? So Alibaba, a lot of people use. A lot of people go to Alibaba. They look for suppliers there. But I want to be pretty frank with you. Alibaba is very expensive, right?
It is.
Very expensive. They're retailers. So yes, you can find products there. You're not finding new products. You're not finding new ideas. You're usually getting poor quality. It takes forever to source on Alibaba, and it's expensive. So there are better ways to source for products. But step 3,
I wouldn't have known to agree with that or not agree with that until I did my China trip last year, and I saw the true cost. I mean, I thought I knew the true cost of things, and then I went to 6 fairs in 12 days. I'm like, oh my, it was eye-opening. And I actually heard another trainer who I didn't choose say, you don't need to ever go to China, just go to Alibaba. And it is absolutely not the case. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, if you're going to be doing business in another country and you're working with suppliers, you have to meet them. I mean, you have to go and understand what business is like. Business in China is very different than doing business in the US. And we hear a lot, we also do a live event in China where we do training. We have our team with you all the time because we have 100% success on our trips. The thing that drives me crazy is you have to understand that when you're doing business in China, you really have to understand what that means, right? Amazon training is not going to help you in China. It really isn't. They don't care. It's not going to help you. You need to understand Chinese business and how to negotiate and how to communicate. And this takes years to learn. I mean, this took us years to learn. And that's why when we're in China, very different than our Colorado event, we focus in on how you are going to be successful in China. And Alibaba, you can use this on Alibaba too. However, like I said, Alibaba, you just have to be very, very careful. Most of the companies on Alibaba are not manufacturers, they're trading companies. And it's expensive, very expensive. So step 3, right, if you're not going to be going to China, you try the online
well, and so it's okay if you can't go to China. Don't feel pressure that in order to get started you must go to China right out of the gate. All right, so I don't want people to get scared off that you can kind of step into private label, and then when you're ready to take it to a next level, then you go to China. So don't feel pressured to go to China, but I definitely recommend, I'm going to give you a link to their free webinar as well, and their live event in Denver is kind of the first level of learning how to private label.
And that's exactly it. You need to know the process before you're going to jump on a plane, right?
Oh yeah.
You need to know the process. You need to understand the process. You need to play on Alibaba too. Some people jump right to China, and that's why we do extensive training with those people before they go to China. But
get your feet wet.
Yeah, you need to know the process. So step 3 is once you have an idea of what those products are that you want to be creating, then you're going to jump online. Step 3, start looking for manufacturers. You're going to go to China, say the Canton Fair, look for manufacturers there. And then in step 4, you're really going to surround yourself by the right people, because you got to get those products from wherever you're importing them from into wherever you are, the US, Canada, Europe, wherever it is. So that's step 4, is the importing process. And this process scares the crap out of everyone. It scares the crap out of me too, I'll be honest, right? But when you're surrounded by the right support team for this part of the process, it's a breeze. So for example, at our live event, we bring our importing team in and we share them with the people that attend the live event. So all you have to do is really take that step 4 out, because you won't even have to deal with that except talk to our team and say, hey, I'm ready. How do I get my products here? And let them handle it all. So
let me give you guys a real life. This happened to me at Canton this year. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I'm a very enthusiastic person. When I see something I want to do, I was, okay, let's do this, all right. And I actually had a guide there, one of my wholesale suppliers, in fact. I met up with him there, and he said it was a wood product. You probably know where I'm going with this. And I was like, okay, all right, I got the price, I negotiated it. All right, I know what I'm going to do with the packaging. I locked it down. I'm ready to place an order. He said, well, hang on. Did you ask about the certification? Huh? What? Certification? So apparently there are different certifications you need for different materials of products in order to import that product into America. And by the way, if I have some Canadian followers too, if there are some of you Canadians watching this, they're Canadians. Awesome. You guys are Canadians too. But there are different rules for bringing things into whatever country you're trying to bring things into. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I would have had, a half a container full of stuff that would have sat at a port, and I wouldn't have had the certification or the proper paperwork for it potentially. And
that's the thing, you just don't know what you don't know, right? So Neil is highly situated in the customs industry, which is great. Yeah, so which is great. But here's a story that, do you want to share the parrot story?
The parrot story is a good story.
You got to hear this story.
Is this like the Monty Python dead parrot skit?
No, I mean, this is how, I mean, you're talking paperwork, right? We're talking something so simple that can cost so much money in the end in fines. And this is one of the stories. I mean, this is how simple. If you don't have that support team and know what you're doing importing, which most people don't, because it takes years of making mistakes, basically, right? And learning. But tell the parrot story really quickly.
So the parrot story is a great story because what happened was, it was a product that I was producing all the time for some stores. It was actually going in the cosmetic industry, and they were putting makeup in these plastic pallets. So they have these small plastic pallets, the makeup is poured into it, and we supplied the pallets to a large cosmetic company. Well, I get a call from U.S. Customs, and the shipment is seized. And they called Fish and Wildlife, happened to call me, and they're saying they're sending inspectors over to a designated area where the container is going to land. They need to be accompanied by a customs broker who's clearing it. We need all the paperwork. And I thought, I've been bringing these containers for years for the same company. What happened was they changed box manufacturers. So the outer cartons they were packing them in. And they didn't look at the spelling, and they wrote parrots instead of pallets.
Oh my God.
The way they pronounce it, they sent it off to the printer for the boxes. And so there was a full container of parrots. Fish and Wildlife thought I was trying to smuggle in birds.
I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it's really funny.
And so when I'm looking at the paperwork, and it's not something that you can just disregard saying, just let them clear it. I have to show up with a Fish and Wildlife inspector. There's fines. They open the doors. They're waiting there. And I'm showing them all the documentation from previous shipments. But because that's the way it was marked, Customs takes this very seriously. They call on each of the inspectors who's involved. And of course, it was cleared up within an hour. But I still got fined because it's sent to an off-site place where there's a special exam.
Oh, man.
So imagine if this was sent right to Amazon, say. You would lose a lot of money, right? A lot of money. So it's really important. It's an easy process it's just really important that you have the right steps and that you're being educated with the right information.
Well, what's step number 5? I love that story.
Step number 5 is you have your product, you have it in, now it's get it in front of millions of people. And Amazon is a great way. 300 million people are shopping there with credit cards in their hands, right? People aren't going there to schmooze like on Facebook. They're not going there to socialize. They're going there to shop.
It's true.
300 million people on Amazon. So you get it in front of people. And ta-da, you've private labeled, you've taken control, money starts coming in, and you don't really sit back because it is business, but it does free up a lot of your time to
do
vacation,
and it becomes exciting.
To do other things.
It becomes exciting. You started a business. It's your own business. It's your own brand. You can see how it develops. Again, you have the audience there, so you can see when people are giving you that great feedback. That's a great feeling. That's like, wow, my product's working. I've done something right. And that's where then you can continue with other things like bundling.
Retail.
Yeah, and the I don't know about it's Q4. It's a couple of weeks before, I don't know, 9 days before last Christmas shipment or something. And I don't know how the rest of you are feeling, but man, I just brain dead. I'm lucky to know my own name by December 24th. I don't want to feel that way come 2018. I want to build a business that's chunking away. I ran out of stock of 6 of my best-selling SKUs. I started throwing ads at them, and they sold way faster than I thought they were. And I have back stock here, but I didn't want to send, all my stock in because I didn't know how things were going to sell. So yesterday, I'm like bundling stuff and doing cases and running to FedEx because it was past the pickup time, and I don't want to do that. In 2018, my business structure will look completely different because I'll have more control, and I won't be touching physical product. But it will all be moving smoothly and the processes will be set up so there's no panic mode.
Mm-hmm. The exciting thing is there's a demand. So there's a demand for your product. So that's a great thing. That's the best situation you can be in. There's a demand for your product.
Yeah, my brain was already going to, okay, Karen, there's this one bundle that I just cannot keep in stock. And I got to put this in a bundle, and I'm tearing open cartons last night, creating these bundles. I'm like, what if all of these were created, just made as is at a factory? And I owned it, and I could create a couple variations. And Karen's voice kind of channeled in my head. It's like, Barbara, you need to have this manufactured. So that'll be my homework, is this one particular bundle that I can't keep in stock. Well, I'll own it next year.
It's kind of like the Gazoo and the Flintstones. Remember, Gazoo would be out there saying, hey, what are you doing?
That's pretty funny.
Get ready for next year.
That's pretty funny. I'm not sure what happened there. Share screen. You guys still there? I'm not sure kind of what happened. Somebody's sharing their screen. Quit it.
Oh, can you hear us?
Please. Somebody's sharing the screen. Quit it. All right. So anyway, let's just keep going. Somebody's sharing the screen here. You need to stop.
So those are the 5 steps. 5 simple steps. And then it's, just putting it in action. And so what we do at the Private Label University, and that's why we created it, to give people access to not just Neil and I. Like we have a private Facebook group, Private Label University for Amazon sellers. Anyone is welcome to join.
Yeah, let me just show them this. If you guys go to tinyurl.com/PL Secrets webinar, you can watch their entire webinar on how to get started. By the way, somebody asked in the chat, just so we can do a little bit of a Q&A here, can we source products in America?
Absolutely.
Right?
You can source
and
products
Canada.
Anywhere. Yeah. Absolutely. There are a ton of places. However, the pricing might be a little different. Pricing is much more expensive here when you're buying things, but there are certain things that we will not source anywhere except in the US.
Yeah. What about like topicals, makeup, body lotions, things like that?
Some things we would outsource, but most things like, vitamins and certain supplements and stuff. Yeah, you would definitely do in the US, and we encourage that. However, the pricing is much higher, but then you use your marketing and the copy that the verbiage that you're going to use to explain why is your price higher, right? There's a reason.
Got it.
Safety, right?
Okay, so you don't have to source in China or Philippines or Mexico or all the other, India, whatever. You can source in your home country to get started, right? But the process is the same, correct?
Process is exactly the same.
Okay.
just certain countries are known for certain materials, right? So,
certain raw materials.
Right. So give an example.
So even tea products, so any tea-based product, of course, they're coming most of the time from China. When they're brought in here as a raw material, and then of course they're remanufactured or developed into something else. But a lot of times there's importers in the States who are bringing in tonnage of that product. So if they're storing it, they're already processing it, why not buy it from them? Especially most of those companies who are doing it here, they're private labeling for 100 other companies. Again, the price may be a little bit higher if you're buying in smaller volumes, but like you said, it allows you to get your feet wet, see the process, see what, where the raw materials are from. And if it really takes off to a big number, then you can approach where they're getting the raw materials from.
Well, and I had an interesting experience this week. It was a contact that I made at Canton Fair, and they're great at follow-up because it's 9 months, 8 months later, and I'm still getting emails. And it was, they were doing this container full of a certain product for an Amazon seller, and they said, look, if you order some, we will hop on the end of their manufacturing cycle, and we'll just add 288 units. And you can have them at this price because they're already manufacturing that part at the factory, and it doesn't take them very much to say, instead of manufacturing 10,000, manufacture 10,100 or 11,000, and then sell me the extra 1,000. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and that's, you had mentioned earlier about, the misconception private labeling, it's so expensive, right? And you have to have large MOQs.
It would have been like $1,000 for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example. People feel that if I private label, and we hear this all the time, day and night, well, then I'm going to have to order 10,000 or 100,000. I mean, when we did the dog product on our Amazon Private Label Summit, when we created it from scratch, I ordered 500, 400. I mean, I could have done 100. That's a misconception. You are in control, period. Right? You're in control of negotiations, how much you want to actually buy, and then what do you want to sell it for? So, I mean, we've had people invest with as little as, $500.
Yeah. And it might cost you a little bit more per piece initially, but to do the test order, try it out, tweak, see what needs to be improved, and then go back and negotiate a better price for a larger quantity after you've tested it. Seems absolutely. Do that with wholesale. So
exactly. And typically a lot of, big distributors and big importers, they're going to say, oh, no, the volume's too big. You don't want to do that. But they're doing it so they can take that part of the business away from you. So that's why.
Say that again? What was that?
Well, big distributors, big importers, they don't want to promote private labeling if they have a private label brand or many brands. So they're going to tell the smaller private labeler, oh, no, it's too expensive. There's too much inventory. You can't do it.
Interesting.
And that's where for years, chain stores didn't like us to share what we were teaching them because they're like, well, then if you're going to tell so many other people, then they're going to learn how to do it. Well, why should it be limited to you?
So in a nutshell, you're teaching us what you taught big box stores and teach big box stores to do in terms of private labeling and importing product.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's brilliant. I chose the right coaches. I think I did. So we've got another, well, first of all, I put a link in the chat, tinyurl.com/PL Secrets webinar. They've got an entire webinar you can watch. It's going to kind of flesh this out a little bit. And at the end, they're going to offer you, they've got a course. Now, I know you guys have seen these private label courses that come out a couple times a year. They're anywhere from $1,000 to $8,000 just for an online course, right? So these folks, one of the other reasons why I like Neil and Karen is that they really want to spread their knowledge, and their price points are extremely reasonable. So at the end of the webinar, they're going to talk to you about their online course that's ready, $497.
It's on sale just for you guys.
Yeah, it gets even better. When I signed up for the live event in Colorado, how much is the live event?
The live event is $997.
For a 3-day event, okay, there's one private label kind of weekend from a guru he's selling for $8,000, right? So $1,000, but what do I get with that, Karen and Neil?
You get the online training too.
I got the $497 package as well.
And you get us in our team.
Yeah, and I was like, and it's a really small workshop in their office, so you got to watch the videos because it's like, a dozen people around this table with everybody with their laptops, and it's basically a 3-day one-on-one coaching. I think you guys are nuts for your price points, but I'm glad I got in while the price point still what it was. So I'll send you guys all the links, but these are the folks that, I only recommend people that, I learned from and I'm crazy about, and these are my private label coaches now. So I'll send you the links for the webinar. It's in the chat. Go watch the webinar at the end. If you can't make the live event, just $497. Go through their entire online course. And if you can make the live event, you can come hang out with me too, because I'm going to be there for 3 days. And then the day after, I'm going to do a lunch where we're going to all talk about bundling. So that's for free. I'm going to add that on to anybody who comes through my link to their event. So Yahoo, right? Gets better and better.
The idea of, both of those is, with the online training, it's awesome because you have the control to study and learn on your time, but you have to be disciplined, right? I mean, how many times have you bought a program and you
shelf help, it's called.
You just don't do it, right? I'm totally a victim of that. And that's one of the reasons why we did the live event, because we walk through the process with you, hand holding your hand, like literally holding your hand. And you're going to leave with a blueprint. So we're going to build this personal blueprint with you and start implementing it live. And then you have the online training to kind of go back as a resource if, things that you need to forget, if things you need to freshen up on if you forget. But the idea of the live event is to give you, you get your questions answered. It's more personal. And that's it was more of people had come to us and said, I just can't get through the online training because it's just, I don't have the time or the discipline.
Well, look, you asked me earlier, Barbara, did you get through the first module and set up your appointment? It's like, no, it's Q4. Are you kidding me? I don't know my own name. I'll get to it. But I need someone. My learning style is I learn best when I'm in a focused environment where I'm allowed to do one thing and I'm being led through it. Otherwise, I'm ADD and there's this going on and there's 83 things I'm multitasking at. Right, we're entrepreneurs and that's a good thing and a bad thing. And how committed, my question to myself was, Barbara, how committed are you to building your own brands in 2018? And I am absolutely 1,000,000% committed, which is why I knew I needed to have a coach or coaches who were going to lead me on that process, or I'd be off learning Instagram and Pinterest and this and that and that and that, and not getting anything done to the 1,000% that I want it done. So
and that's important. And people ask us, like, why is it so inexpensive? Well,
I was like, what's the catch?
Yeah, I know. And that's what we hear. But you know what? We come from the retail industry. People pay us a lot of money to bring us into their business and help them build their business. I mean, we literally go in and consult in their business. We understand when you're starting. I mean, listen, we've been there. We're entrepreneurs too, right? You need to be able to have money left over to do it, right? If I'm charging you $10,000 for a training program, how are you investing anything in products? Or how are you going to China? Or how are you doing all the things that we're going to explain that you need to be doing, right? So we need to obviously be able to cover our expenses, right? Cost money too. But it shouldn't be breaking the bank. People shouldn't be like mortgaging their house. People, you know what I mean? Like we want you to build a business. We know that when you get this training, you're going to see how powerful this is. You're going to want to go to China. Yep. Right? We know that
my China trip, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I made some mistakes, and then I didn't pull the trigger because it was packaging that stumped me. I was like, okay, well, I'm not quite sure what to do next. And so I didn't maximize the close to $10,000 I invested with travel and hotel and no training, right? So, I didn't know about you guys earlier this year, but yeah, I wouldn't say that's a waste of $10,000. It was an investment with, I have some learning I can build from it. But now I know I need to get the foundation underneath me. So whatever I did learn, I can now actually implement.
And that's the key. I mean, there are other, Canton Fair trips that people, the gurus, as you call them, they've been private labeling for a year or two. Maybe they went to China once. Maybe they haven't even been to China, right? Yep. Let me tell you, Amazon is useless for you. All your knowledge of Amazon, you can't use in China.
That's what you're saying.
You have to really understand, so a lot of these courses in China, they do a day of teaching Amazon and how to do this and how to do that. And then they say, okay, you're on your own in the fair. You cannot be on your own in that fair.
Now, here's what I want. Here's what I want for everybody in this webinar too. I look at Amazon. I heard this it was an event by a really high level speaker said this, and it rocked my world, like in September. I think it was Ezra Firestone's event. And the speaker said, I think it was Ryan Dice. He said, do not ever introduce yourself as an Amazon seller. You are not an Amazon seller. You are an e-commerce seller, and Amazon is one of your sales channels. So I wish that for everybody in this webinar to look at your business as being a brand owner, and Amazon is just one of those sales channels. But you can sell on your own website. Where else can they sell? You tell us.
Oh my goodness.
eBay.
eBay, Shopify, your own websites, retail, Walmart,
Walmart.com, Jet.com.
There's so many.
Okay, and even better, you can wholesale your own product. So let's say you don't want to sell direct.
Yeah, license your own product.
Yeah, there's a whole licensing event, licensing expo. So once you own your own brand, think about it. You could just import and wholesale, and not even sell
Total control.
Yeah, you have complete control of the entire chain.
And as you mentioned earlier, companies look to buy brands that are doing well. We actually have one client who recently was approached, sold his company, and he sold it. If anyone's familiar with the term Bitcoin, he sold it for 20,000 Bitcoins.
Wow. And Bitcoin's at what, $15,000 each or something?
Now, imagine now.
Yeah, he's retired.
But he's actually started a new brand.
Yeah, there is no such thing as retired when you're an entrepreneur.
But that's, again, there's companies looking, they're watching Amazon to saying, hey, this brand is really popular. I like what they offer. I like the packaging. I can take it to these other online platforms or to the next level.
Or sell to their, if it's a related product to their brand already, and they buy the entrepreneur's brand because they know they can sell it to their existing customers. Wow, this is well, I know I'm on the right road by one, choosing private label for 2018, and two, by hiring you guys as my coaches. So we're getting towards the end of the webinar. So I promised you guys that I was going to give you their book for free. They allowed me to. Kim says, wow, I truly appreciate you sharing Karen and Neil with us, Barbara. It's so refreshing that they were making their event and course for, I know, right? I want to caveat here. I didn't choose Karen and Neil because of the price of the course. I didn't know the price of anything. I was looking for coaches that I could resonate with, that I knew had the expertise behind them. They put their money where their mouth is. And then we talked about the cost of their trainings, and like, what? Wait a minute. Is that like per month for the next 6 months? Like, no, one-time fee. So that was just a bonus. But I was sold on them before I knew what they charged because of the quality of what both of them individually and together bring to the table as trainers for me. So I'm going to give you guys a link, and I know there are questions in the chat, and we're going to just go over to because some of them are a little bit more in depth. So we're going to post that. Tell us where they can find you to ask questions. Let's do it that way.
Absolutely. So I would head over to, not this second, but I would head over after to our Facebook community. It's called Private Label University for Amazon Sellers. You have to join, so we'll accept you in, and you can ask questions there. And Barbara, we're more than happy after we talk a little bit about, how we can share this opportunity. Our price of normally for the program is actually $1,500. So we're doing this for $490. Is it $497, right?
Yeah.
So just for you guys. So we, after we talk about that, if anyone wants to stay on and you have time, be more than happy to answer the questions. I see there's a lot of them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer those questions.
All right, well, let me give you guys some links. First of all, the free webinar is tinyurl.com/plsecretswebinar. And you can and yes, I am recording this webinar, and I will make it available on my Facebook group, which is Facebook/group/Deal Diva. I'll put that in the chat as well. You can watch the replay. I'll put it up tomorrow. And then we're going to give you a free book download. And let's see, here we go. It's tinyurl.com/plsecretsbook.
Private Label Secrets.
There we go. And you can either buy it on Kindle for like $10, $15, whatever, or you can download the PDF for free from these guys.
And you can also buy a hard copy. And it's been a #1 best-selling book in 8 countries.
Nice. And I love how you totally color coordinated your outfits on the cover. Don't think that wasn't lost on me. But don't go anywhere, guys.
I'm just looking. Did we? We did.
Guys, stay on the webinar, guys, because we're going to do Q&A. So in the chat, start posting anything. There is no such thing as dumb question. We're going to field question and answers while we've got them, and they are offering more of their time to us. Let's take advantage because we know they're busy. So they're here and they're offering. So ask away. And we'll start with the question. So let me make sure you've got your links. The free webinar is tinyurl.com/plsecretswebinar. The free book is tinyurl.com/plsecretsbook. And I'll put in your Facebook group is Private Label University for Amazon sellers. Mm-hmm. Don't let that fool you because the Private Label University can be, you can sell off Amazon as well. That's just
a lot of retailers in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have retailers in there. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of people in there, different people from all over. So I do want to mention, though, so there are 2 ways that you can actually get started right now, private labeling and learning that 5-step process. We call the process the Import Success Formula. And it really is the formula. I mean, this is what we've been using with the retailers to follow these steps, and we kind of handhold them through them, private labeling products. And it's the 5 steps that we talked about also in the book as well. So you can do an online training program. Right now it's on special. We have $1,000 off, so $497.
Wow.
And the thing is, you have to be disciplined, right? You have to go through the process. You get some time with Neil and I, that one-on-one time with Neil and I as well, so that we can kind of get you focused and you have that support. We also give you, in the program, our Rolodex of resources. These are resources that we've personally used and that our clients have used that have found helpful. So you're going to get that in the online training program.
Nice.
But for those of you who, like Barbara, myself, and Neil, and most of you maybe, need a little bit more hand-holding and more discipline, the live event is incredible because not only you're going to get all the online training, we're going to give you that. The great thing about it is we walk through the entire process with you and create a blueprint. Let me just show you here. A blueprint that's customized for you. Right? So you get a blueprint of the entire process, and we start implementing. As Barbara mentioned, we have computers out. We start jumping on sites and we start implementing the process. We share with you our importing team, which is key. You don't have to think about importing, right? They're unbelievable. And it just gives you the opportunity to ask questions, right? When you're doing it on your own, you can't be like, oh, Karen, oh, Neil, that kind of stuff, right? You'll be able to ask questions. So sometimes what happens is the training turns into something, we go on a tangent sometimes, and we go into training in another area that you might not find in the course because it's live.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to send everybody an email with the link to the free book, to the free webinar, to their online course, to their live training in Colorado, January 12th to 14th. I'm going to make sure everybody gets that in your email. You can go through that. Now, we're about 30 days out from the live event, so you can still score some really cheap airline tickets. I think it was like $150 for a round trip for me into Denver. If you're going to do the live event, pull the trigger and take advantage of that offer for $997, and you'll get their $497. You'll get their online course as well in that. So it's kind of
and just imagine 3 days, you're done.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. If you can get to Denver, guys, and then the 4th day, you'll have me for the 4th day, and maybe Karen too. She said she would hang out with us, and we'll just talk bundling. Right, and we'll just we'll find a conference room, or maybe they'll let us use their conference room, and we'll just hang out and order some pizza and talk bundling for the afternoon. How's that? And that's my If you guys are in, that's my free gift to anybody who signs up for the course through my link. So let's see what kind of questions we had. Any last thoughts before we go into questions?
From us or from people?
Oh, from you. Oh, sorry. Any last things you guys want to say before I start fielding questions in here?
First of all, thank you so much for having us here. It was wonderful. We hope that you guys got value. If you got value, jump into the chat box. Let us know as well, because, as you can see, we're pretty down to earth, and we kind of tell you what it is. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, not gurus. We're the experts in the industry, and we've helped. First of all, we personally have private labeled how many products?
Thousands and thousands.
Wow.
And thousands. Yeah, we were trying to actually hit a number. I know it's
way too many.
Way too, yeah.
Wow.
For so many companies and so many, even my own personal ones, thousands.
Well, and you were so hard to find because, like you said, you're not marketers. I think that the webinar series you did, the free videos, they're really sharp. You did a great job. And I know that you, Karen, are a ClickFunnels pretty much expert in your own right. So I was very impressed with how you presented your information. I had to dig to find you. So, you're not out there on the circuit yelling at people, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, because you're rocking and rolling, doing your own private label, items that, it's more like an added value. Like, okay, now we know all this stuff. We should pay it forward. That's kind of how I got it. So I'm thrilled that I found you guys. Okay.
Well, thank you for having us here too. And it's, I mean, you are a doll, and we were.
Oh, thanks. Okay, don't go anywhere because we got some
we're not going anywhere. We have questions.
Larry says, I'm going to read from the bottom up. It's just easier. Larry says, I've seen some rumblings that big money is starting to come into Amazon for private label, and that it won't be a good business model for small private label entrepreneurs. Your thoughts on the future of private label?
Good question. Great question. And we hear this a lot. Do you want to?
Yeah, no one really knows what's going to happen with Amazon. It's impossible. Even the people at Amazon, they zip everything up. They're not going to expose it. However, while it's here, again, the opportunity of private labeling, becoming an entrepreneur, and getting into the physical products, it's a great way to do it. It gives you, almost the control, and that's the key.
So the thing is, as Neil said, we don't know what happens with Amazon. And our philosophy when we teach private labeling, it's teaching business, right? It's about brand. Everything is going online. Everything is online. And businesses need to understand that it's about, whether it's a brick and mortar that, does arbitrage, because that's what brick and mortars do. They do arbitrage, right? Everyone else's products, plus maybe their own. But the whole idea is about building a brand, right? When you think of Apple, right? They have products in there, right? They have all their products, but they built a brand. When you think of Walmart, a lot of people now think of Walmart brand. We think of Costco, you think of Kirkland, right? There's these brands. Everything is kind of going to building a brand, a private label brand. So the future of Amazon, like Neil said, is unknown. Amazon could say, you're done, you're closed, you're on your own, and then you're left with nothing.
Think about it. 2 years ago, if you'd asked the same question, nobody would have conceptualized the brand restrictions and the category restrictions. But I want to encapsulate it down to some just really, really simple. Here it is. There are two ways to sell things. You sell other people's stuff, or you sell your own stuff. That's it. Mic drop. If I could mic drop, I would. Right? Yeah. So arbitrage is selling other people's stuff. And if you own your own brand, it doesn't matter where you're selling it. You can sell it on Amazon, eBay, your own website, through platforms that sell other people's stuff, like Walmart, Rakuten, Jet, Groupon, right? That you got to start getting creative. So would you rather rely on other people, sourcing other people's stuff, and they have control over their stuff, by the way, or control the only part of the equation you can control, which is your stuff, creating your own stuff to sell? And then it doesn't matter what Amazon does, because you still own that asset, your stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Amazon wants to continue to grow. They're in it for the long haul. As long as it's making money, they want more of those micro brands, because those micro brands bring in a lot of following and products that are trending that way. Amazon wants to keep it going. It's money for them. So why would they disregard and say, oh, we don't want so many private label brands? They love that, because it gives them, people are going to Amazon saying, what's new out there? I'm looking for something like this. Is there there's a new brand. I've never seen it. You're not going to find it in the retailers, but you'll find it on Amazon. So I think Amazon is going to keep that more and more, where the evolution of buying is going to be with private labels.
Yeah. Amazon's pretty sharp. I think we'd all agree. Jeff Bezos and his entire team are pretty darn sharp. Think about the Whole Foods acquisition. And a lot of people were scratching their heads going, what the? Okay, but people who are private.
We have some insight on that.
And I'll share some insight on personal stories that have happened with Amazon hierarchy at the event.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, at the event. Okay, cool. I'm really looking forward to it if I wasn't already. But I have a theory. I have a theory on the Whole Foods. Can I share it real quick?
Yeah.
My theory is, if you start private labeling, creating your own private label brand of extra virgin olive oil, and you really focus on creating that like truffle flavored extra virgin olive oil, whatever, right? Now, Amazon owns brick and mortar Whole Foods. At some point, it stands to reason, if your private label does well, you're going to be invited onto the shelves of Whole Foods.
But that's not what they're doing. Do I know what they're doing?
Yes. That was my theory.
Or should we save it for the event?
You
guys better sign up.
No. Sorry, you already like seated, so you have to share. Anybody who stayed on the webinar this long deserves to hear this nugget.
All right. Well, rumor has it what they plan on doing with Whole Foods. This is a rumor, right? So don't quote me on this. But
that's all right.
Has it that they are so there's Canadians on, right? Can you guys jump in the chat? Do we have Canadians?
I don't see Nick in here, but I do have Canadian followers, but that's okay because the webinar, the replay will go out to Canadian followers.
Okay, so years ago in Canada when we were growing up, there used to be a store called Consumers Distributing, right? Is that what it's called? And it was really cool kind of idea. You would go into the store and you would wait in the line and you would order from kind of like a catalog, and then the conveyor belt would go and bring you your product. That's kind of what they're planning on doing with Whole Foods. So you'll be able to go in, maybe taste something, I like it, and
that's crazy
make
cool.
It very efficient. So just kind of a giant cooler.
It's kind of like an Amazon warehouse, but now open for food.
Wow.
So you know you need a pound of cucumbers, you know you need this, and it's just going to come out to you.
And you can probably order everything online and then just breeze by there to pick up your groceries, and boom, it's already there ready. Oh my gosh, it's brilliant. So how can we, and this question you're going to answer at the live event, okay? Because I'm going to ask it at the live event. How can we position ourselves as brand owners to be a part of that transition process? And you can answer that one at the live event. But
absolutely. And that's the key really with anything. The whole idea is not just private label a product, get it up on Amazon and wait for your millions. It doesn't work like that. You're building a brand, you're building a business through private labeling products.
Yeah, let's take this. Okay, so there's this one toy this season.
Oh yeah, I remember Consumer Distributing.
Oh yeah. So, okay, there's this one toy that I just don't get, and it's like everybody's fighting over to get it, and they're selling like for crazy stupid money on Amazon and eBay. Okay, it's something called LOL. Yeah, so it's this little doll, and it's a surprise, right? So you don't know what you're getting when you buy it. Anybody know? LOL surprise. Now think about this. So it's exclusive. So they do limited amounts of like series 1, series 2, series 3, and you don't know what you're getting. So they trigger that, oh my God, I have to get it because it's a surprise pack because I don't know what I'm going to get. So I had to figure out why the heck, if there's these stupid little dolls that are about that big that must cost them 25 cents each, right? With these little accessory cell phones and their target market is like tweens. Because all of the cell phones is cracked. And it's great. So I went to their website and I looked at their marketing. I'm like, oh my God, talk about a brand. And they've got this little girl who is doing the videos. She's probably about 12 years old. And what do you think one of the biggest objections is when you're buying something and you don't know what's in it? That you're going to get duplicates. We did a marketing video of how you want to get duplicates so you can build out your own twins, triplets, quadruplets, your own band. It was crazy. But talk about marketing. Talk about building a brand that they've completely locked down. Now, what if you could, over something that small? It's the story and the excitement that people are buying, not that toy is a high value, dollar value, right?
And that's kind of what we talked about when it's finding your niche, right? It's this, right? She took her personal experience, her personal love, and that's what sells. The issues, right? If you're not aware of your product, you're not unfamiliar with kind of what it's about, you just heard on Jungle Scout you could sell it, and I'm going to get in on it. That's going to make, you're competing again. It's going to be hard to sell.
So Richard wants to know when the next live event after January will be. I know you guys are going to Canton and you're doing your tour with people to Canton. Are you going to do another live event after January?
So we are not sure, right? So I know people have asked us, are you doing the live event in 2018? So right now our plans are just January, because then we get really, really busy. We get really, really busy, yes, with the Canton Fair. And then when we get back, we're headed right into the school time, right? So school, a lot of the stores, the retailers get back to school stuff. They're into, that gets really, really busy. So we're not 100% sure. We're hoping to do another one in 2018. But it could be way closer to the end of the year. Okay.
So are you going to videotape that event? I know each live event's going to be a little bit different depending who's in the room and where things go. So do you videotape that?
So great question, and something we thought about doing. In the future, we may do live stream because it's something you really, I mean, it'll be kind of like the training program, right? If I just give you the video of it, then you're not there live.
Yeah, it's not the same.
To ask questions. So our future is to maybe live stream, and then this way you're still kind of there live with us.
I don't think it's the same though, because if I say, come here for a second, I want to show you something on my computer, help me figure this out. It's not the same as taking.
Yeah, it's, oh no, and then exactly, excuse me, exactly. It's definitely not the same. And when you're implementing, I can't see your computer screen, right? So I can't be like, nope, do this. No, this is something you should be looking at. And
that's what I need you to do with me. It's like, Barbara, get off of Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it really
You're held accountable.
You're held accountable.
Yeah.
I love it. So let me see what other questions we have here. Oh, a lot of people saying thank you, and let's see. Remember consumers distributing. Check out doing some. Somebody said he had a brand. Here we go. I'm doing some selling now on Amazon, and I have a general name for my merchant name. Okay, so you have a store name basically, and how do I get to sell under a new brand? So I think what he's talking about is how to register a brand on Amazon, and if he needs a second account to register his brand.
Okay, so no, you don't need a second account, and there's a process of registering your brand. So, I mean, we're going to talk a lot. We do a lot of this in the training. However, just to kind of give you some feedback, when you are a brand owner on Amazon, so you have brand registry, so you're recognized as a brand, there are certain steps you do need to take. Firstly, you need a trademark, and you need to have a registered trademark. So there's different types of, people think that TM, oh, I have a trademark. That's not a registered trademark. It needs to have that R with the circle. Once you get that, and right now it could take, up to 6 to 8 months to actually get a registered trademark. And we actually share, I forgot to mention this is actually a great bonus. People who are going to be joining us live in Colorado actually get access to the lawyer that we use to do all this. And she's going to do an intense training just for those guys who attend to walk you through the process of what you need to do to get your brand registered and ready for Amazon.
I'm glad you told me that, because I was on USPTO.gov website about 2 days ago trying to figure out how to.
And it's scary, that site. So we have someone that's going to literally, we don't leave anything out. We literally walk you through that process. So you're going to have access to that. And in the beginning of January, an email will go out right after the holidays, because I know everyone's busy. And then you'll get information on that webinar, and it's live, so you'll be able to you'll get lawyer time for free.
Wow, awesome. So that's if they register for the live event in Colorado for $9.97, and then they also get the online course in addition to that, and then all the follow-up stuff that you're going to do. That's crazy. So excited, can't wait to be there. So somebody asked, Mo asked, is there a danger that the Alibaba manufacturer will sell your product to others? I hate yes and no questions, so if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'll need to reword this. I would say, how can you prevent your Alibaba, your manufacturer, from selling your product to others? That's how I'd reword it.
Great question. Our life story, basically. But you have to have contracts, right? And even
those contracts, it's like Karen said, doing business in China is different from doing it in the US.
And at our live event, we really go into detail about that too.
We do.
Because I'm a novice at this, but what if you could get, your main product from one manufacturer and then a supplemental piece from a different manufacturer, then have a third manufacturer, box it all up into a carton, have a manufacturer for the boxing. So manufacturer one, product one, manufacturer two, product two, packaging manufacturer, and then a fourth company to put it all together.
Absolutely. And we do a lot of that too, right? So it's about spreading it out. But
sub-assembly.
You know what? But the bottom line is anyone can copy anything. So
but if you're building a brand, if you're not just selling, this is a mind shift for me that I'm still going through, and maybe some of you are too, that we're so used to, sourcing a product and selling it on Amazon. And we're not looking at the brand as the product. We're just looking at this, right? So changing the mindset from selling a physical product to building a brand, I think once you make that shift, the questions become different.
Exactly. And I think that's the key, right? Remember, it's about the brand, right? There are other computers out there. Why do people buy Apple? right? They buy the brand. The computer does the exact same thing as a Dell or a PC or,
IBM.
It does the same thing, but people are buying a brand. And it definitely is a mind shift. And that's what you're creating. You're creating a brand. There's going to be similar products out there, but it's your brand is what people are buying.
Yep. Smart. Well, I'm excited to learn from you guys. Let's see what other kind of questions we have in here. Let me scroll up. Appreciate you sharing. I have general information. Okay, so second account. No, don't open a second account. When we source from manufacturers. So Michael says, when we source from manufacturers in the U.S., are we paying more because the quality is better or the cost of labor is higher?
Cost of labor, cost of volume. If some of the big importers will bring in, 50, 60 containers a month. So, and 40-foot containers. So as opposed to someone who's just bringing small volume. So of course the price, people are bringing in smaller amounts, the price is higher.
And there's many more hands in the pot, right? So it went from this person to this person, this person, this person. So you got to pay all those people, right? When you go right to China and you're doing it yourself, and there's not all these people in the pot.
There's no middleman.
Well, I think the other thing, I was looking into skincare products a bit. And there are so many FDA regulations that it's easier to have it private labeled from a manufacturer that's locally in the States that has all the regulations and applications and whatever they need, certifications from the FDA. Because, you put something on your skin and it's from China and they make it with something that's toxic, boy, you're going to be sued and, go to jail. And I don't know, the worst is the worst.
But you also have to keep in mind too, you're the person liable, even though you're buying it from that manufacturer there too. It's still your name and you're liable. So you need to do your due diligence. Where are those products? How do you know they didn't bring them in from China?
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Anywhere, right?
That's the next level of research. You'll teach us in our training. So Michael says, it was mentioned earlier about sourcing options. So when we source from manufacturers in the U.S., are we paying, sorry, that's the one I just asked. What are your thoughts on borrowing money to buy inventory from China versus building your RAOA business to the point where you can afford PL from China? I'm going to rework that sentence that question a little bit. So it sounds like James says, if you don't have enough capital to build your own product out right now, does it make sense to, one, borrow money, or two, build your capital in other ways?
So I love this question because there are marketers out there that will tell you to beg, borrow, kill, and cheat for money.
I've seen the videos.
You know what I'm talking about? Not good business advice, okay?
No.
Not good business advice. You should not be taking a second, third, fourth mortgage on your house. Not good business advice. However, you don't need millions and millions of dollars to private label. Think about the money that you're buying your products with right now in your arbitrage business. That same amount of money can be put towards private labeling. And if you already have an arbitrage business that's making money, well, don't stop it.
Yeah, and it's Q4, so you should be rocking it right now. Take those big payouts you're getting in the next couple of weeks and take a portion of that and invest it into building your business for 2018. But here's the other thing I say to some folks. I teach people locally just for free how to make extra money. There are a lot of people struggling out there, especially after the crash. There were a lot of people who just lost their jobs and didn't know what to do. So, boy, if I was there again, I was a real estate investor during the crash. I know what it felt like to crash and burn. It sucked, right? So whatever it takes. So if that means you need to go to an auction, this is how I built back. I started going to an auction. The first thing I bought was a German meat slicer, and I sold it on Craigslist, and I made $50. I was like, okay, well, if you really want to earn a little extra money, your problem statement should be, how can I earn an extra $1,000 this month? And then reverse engineer from that. And it could be RA and selling on Amazon, or it could be buying and selling stuff locally. Make sure you're paying taxes and you're doing everything legally, okay? But if you hustle a lot, you could go on Craigslist and go to the free section and rent a truck and drive around during large trash day and get a bunch of furniture, clean it up, hose it down, vacuum it, and resell it to make $1,000 in a month. So I need you guys to think outside of these. Should we go into debt? Should we mortgage our house? Should we get another credit card? Or reverse engineer what you want. If you want $2,000 in the next 60 days, brainstorm all the ways you can generate $2,000 extra to move your business forward.
And that's great advice. And the same thing with Amazon. Like, you're going to learn in the live event how to figure out the math of how much I should spend on products and what I should be spending. Like, because we don't tell you, you need $10,000 and you need to be buying this, this, and this, right? That doesn't it's not good business sense, right? It has to work for you, and everyone has different amounts that they could invest or they want to invest. Like I said, our son came with $500. That's what we did, right? So, I mean, it's up to you, and that's really, really good business advice. So again, if you're already selling on Amazon, think about what those profit margins are, right? How many do you actually have to sell on Amazon to make the money that you need to make, right? The money that you want. So if it's $1,000 you need, 2,000, 10,000, whatever that number is, how many of those products do you actually need to be selling? So you kind of have to reverse engineer it so that you can see it and then implement that. Okay, I need to sell 10 this month. 10, right? Then you need to know that's your main goal, is to send 10.
Or if you've got, a product that makes $10 net profit, you only need to sell 100 in the next 60 days to have an extra $1,000 capital at the end of the 60 days.
Exactly. Just reverse engineer it.
Mm-hmm. So I hope that answers your question. Robert has registered for the live event. Robert, I'm so excited that you're going to be there, and you're part of the bundle masterclass lunch the next day. We'll send you the details when we figure it out. So borrowing money versus buy inventory from China versus building your RA. James, I hope we answered your question about how to generate some extra money to get started in whatever form of sourcing you choose. I don't see any of the questions in here, but you guys can go ahead and go to facebook.com/group/dealdiva, and you can ask more questions in there. I will post the link in there. I will email everybody. Thank you, everybody, who's kind of hung in there for this almost hour and a half webinar. You guys totally rock. Go ahead and download your free book at tinyurl.com/PL Secrets book. Here it is in the chat. And then you can watch their free webinar, and they're going to offer you the online training at the end, and that's at PL Secrets webinar. And then when you're ready for the live event in Colorado, I'm so excited for those of you who can make it. Go ahead to PL Secrets Live. There are the 3 links. Oops, and I think I posted that privately, so let me try that again. To everyone. So it's not letting me. Everyone. There we go. Boom. There are your links. So hopefully I'll see you guys somewhere as we follow Karen and Neil Hortzman. Thank you both very much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us.
Thank you for having us. You guys are awesome.
Cool. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks again.
Bye.